Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. I hope you're doing great today. Today we are actually going to be doing the Q&A that I had been collecting the questions for. I ended up with quite a bit, so we'll see. I have about 25 or 26 questions that I would like to answer to, so let's get into it. All right, I actually wrote them down in here. Let's start. All right, let's get this one out of the way. There was a question about where my accent is from, and I am actually from Russia, and I spent probably the majority of my life there, and I only moved to the US when I was 19 or 20 years old or something. I honestly can't really remember. But yeah, that's where I grew up. That's my main language, I guess. Although at this point, I'm probably comfortable enough with English that I can't really tell which one is actually the main one. Fun fact about that, if I don't talk with anyone in Russian for a long time, I have trouble remembering some words that I want to use because the first version that comes to my mind is actually in English. But I suppose that's par for the course when everything that you're surrounded with is in English. So yeah, that's a bit sad, honestly, but my parents speak Russian primarily, and that's what we use whenever we get together, so that helps. All right, next question. Last thing I tried for the first time. That is a very interesting one, and it really got me thinking. Besides starting a YouTube channel that I've never done before, I think the last thing that I tried for the first time was actually mini painting. It was quite fascinating trying to learn the different techniques of how to manipulate paint and like different shading techniques, I guess, that are out there that you could employ on those tiny little models that I actually have like giant magnifying glass for to be able to do because my eyesight is not great already, and them being so tiny and the paint brushes being so teeny tiny as well, it just does not help. But I think after thinking about it for a bit and excluding the YouTube channel, that would be my last new thing that I tried. Your favorite hobbies, which is actually a good segue from the previous one. So I have, I guess, a good number of them that I tend to go away from and then come back to every once in a while. Besides video games, obviously, I really like crocheting. I am currently off and on working on crocheting a figurine of Sigurd from Dark Souls 3 or Sigmire from Dark Souls 1. They're pretty similar in their appearance, so could be either. I am an avid cook. I really like trying out new things, trying out new cuisines, and I find that really therapeutic, I guess. I also am a mountain biker. I have, let's see, I have a fat tire bike and I have a proper full suspension mountain bike in the house that I use interchangeably, with the fat bike being more appropriate, I guess, or having more use during the winter. There are not a whole lot of trails around me where I currently live, but I have a couple of friends who live in the northern part of the States where they have a better selection, I guess, of trails. So I visit them every once in a while, and we enjoy the trails together. And I've also been to the Southwest, and I checked out trails in Moab, which was a lot of fun. I did, gosh, the whole enchilada. I don't know if you guys are familiar, but if you look it up, it's a trail that essentially takes you the entire day to go down, and you get shuttled over to the start, which is at the top of one of the peaks that are nearby, and then you go down all the way to Moab, and that's where you end the trail. That trail is fantastic. I had so much fun going down it, and it was absolutely terrifying at times. Luckily, I'm not afraid of heights, but if you are, even remotely, you probably will not like it because there are several parts of it that end up with being kind of right on the edge of a cliff, and it's very, very tall. So if there's a misstep or if there's like a very unfortunate rock that ends up under your tires that makes you slide out, that's not going to be a good time. Favorite food is kind of close to the previous two topics as well. And I want to say pastries, but it's kind of a boring answer. I can eat pastries any time of the day and in whatever mood I am. But maybe let's settle on cuisine. I think I really like Japanese. I can cook a lot of Japanese dishes, which I think helps a lot, and they tend to be pretty easy in general. All right, next question is favorite films, books, and maybe shows. So, books. Lately I've been on a kick of reading through everything Brandon Sanderson has ever written. So that's been fun. I think his Stormlight series has been my favorite so far, but the rest of them, or every other one that I've read from him, were very nearly on the same level as that one. So if you guys read it, that's great. I hope you liked it. If you haven't read it and you like fantasy in general with very interesting magic systems, I guess, magic, unquote, special ability, I guess, systems, then I would definitely recommend you check him out because he is very good at world building. Sometimes it can be long-winded, but trust me, the details that he puts out, even though they might take a while for you to get through, they are important and they are probably going to come up later in the books or affect other characters, so on and so forth. It's really worth the read. Why an architect? Favorite idea concept that I have participated in. So, why an architect? I'm not entirely sure. All I know is that when I was very, very little, for whatever reason, my favorite thing to draw was apartment layouts. It's bizarre, and I have no idea where that came from, but I kind of stuck with it, and it was lucky for me that where I lived back in Russia, we actually had a school of architecture very nearby, so I didn't even need to move anywhere closer or get to like dorms or anything to be able to go to that college over there. So that's kind of how I ended up where I am. And then when I moved, I got my master's in architecture after that. And that was already in the US. So by whatever forces of the universe there were, architecture happened to be a hobby of mine. And then with the availability of a college being so close, I essentially streamlined myself down to the architecture path, which I'm not regretting. It's been a fascinating profession, and it's tough at times, but which one isn't? Favorite idea concept that I was able to participate in. When I was in college the second time for my master's, we had an interesting workshop where we were working with a super reflective film produced and manufactured by 3M. And we were conducting studies on how we can bring light from the outside deep into the building to enhance and improve conditions that people were working in. So think a very classic and stereotypic office where there's a few desks that have a window and the rest of the floor does not. So those people that are working on the rest of the floor, they don't really have any access to daylight unless they go outside quite literally and, I don't know, spend their lunch break or out there or something. But with that film, we were able to essentially create like channels of light that would come from the windows, and the light would be able to bounce all around inside of those channels and then spill over where we wanted it to. So that was fascinating. That was very cool. I think it ended up in one of the magazines too, so that was kind of fun. I can't really find it right now because I forgot what it was called. Next question is about the states I've been to or lived in. I have actually lived only in one, and that's the one that I'm currently in. But I've been to a great many, honestly. I once went on a road trip, basically from where I live down to the southwest to see the Grand Canyon. And when we were going back, we basically took a long route and covered a good number of states that were just kind of unquote on the way. They weren't really on the way because we were basically making a very large loop, but that's kind of where a lot of the states that I've been to come from. I haven't necessarily spent a whole lot of time in each one of them. I did spend a good chunk of time in Arizona just because I have a number of projects that I'm working on in there. Let's get to questions that are closer related to the YouTube channel and gaming in general. So, the first one, why did you start a channel and what are your expectations? So, I started the channel and I think I ended up including that in the about page, but I don't remember, and nor do I expect anyone to look at it, to be honest with you guys. So I started it because I've been and have become a huge fan of watching different playthroughs, especially during COVID when everyone was in lockdown and there's only so much TV you can watch if you watch TV. So it's been kind of an outlet, I suppose. And I figured, since I like playing games as well, and there are so many games that I have not played that are considered by a whole lot of people to be classics and must play on a lot of people's lists. So I figured I might as well contribute, I guess, to the YouTube's playthrough selection. And it's been a lot of fun. It feels kind of like I am playing with you guys, if that makes sense. And obviously I'm playing for public, right? But it almost feels like you guys are participating in the playthrough, and that's been great. Because playing video games can be a little lonely, I suppose. But by having you guys watch and comment and tell me where I'm wrong and tell me where you support my decisions and so on and so forth, it kind of feels like we're just playing together. I don't know. It may not feel that way to you, but it certainly does to me. So I'm really grateful for every one of you guys who decide to leave a comment on one of my videos. And besides it being really good for the algorithm, it's been really fun to read them. And trust me, I read every one of them. I know I don't respond to every comment, but I respond to a lot. And even if you don't get a response, you should know that I've seen it, I've read it, and I value your input, whatever it may be. So what equipment I use and what is behind me. I have a capture card that I use for the PlayStation. And I have, this microphone, this Shure microphone that I really love. I think that's probably my most valued purchase that I've made for this channel. I have this big ring light that is shining in my face all the time. And a Sony camera. Sony ZV-1 is the camera that I use. I only use one computer. I don't have like a streaming or recording or just gaming and recording PC separate, so it's all in one. So that probably limits, I guess, the capacity of the output that I can create, but I feel like the videos have been looking pretty good. And if you have any suggestions on how I can improve, that I would also be very happy to hear about it. As far as my recording software, I use OBS, and that's been really nice, I thought. I don't know why I started the video while wearing the hood, but that's okay. As far as my backdrop, what the hell is going on with my hair? As far as my backdrop, I shot a very quick video on my phone on what all of the different things in there are. I also have this lamp, this purple lamp that you may or may not have noticed, and something happened to it not that long ago, and it started going all sorts of crazy. Every once in a while, it's not doing it now, obviously, but every once in a while, it would just turn blue. Blue is one of the settings, but that's not the setting that I put it on, obviously. And sometimes it also likes to turn on in the middle of the night, out of nowhere. So I don't know what that's about. I think it's possessed. Next question. Favorite gaming titles? How gaming started? Favorite gaming titles? Well, I have to put Mass Effect on it, and I know I haven't finished it yet, but it's been an absolute blast to go through the first two that I've already finished, and now going through the third one. So that's definitely one. Portal, absolutely. Portal has been amazing, and I am a huge puzzle lover. The Witcher, absolutely. Although, I have to say that I never finished Witcher 3. I put in a couple of hours in it and got horribly distracted with something else, but it almost feels like I played it because I've read every book, and I know the world pretty well, so while I don't necessarily know all the intricacies about the story and how it went down, it feels like I still know the game a little bit, if you know what I mean. So that's why I'm putting it in the favorites. So even though I never finished it, I still love it because I love the world and the characters. Has your taste in games changed? I can't say that it did. I think it expanded. Like, for instance, there are games that I never thought I would like and ended up really enjoying. Like, I was excited to try the BioShock series, but that's usually not the type of game that I typically go for. So it was a new experience, and I was really enjoying myself while playing through BioShock 1 and 2, and I'm excited to continue BioShock Infinite right now. So Alien Isolation, always wanted to play it, was always afraid to play it. So I will, I guess, mark that into the expanded tastes territory as well. Let's see. Speaking of Alien Isolation, do I regret putting it on the poll and having it win it? I do not at all. I know I'm scared, I'm nervous, and I'm anxious every time I need to start playing it, but I kinda love the thrill, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, it's hugely anxiety inducing, but being able to get through the level and playing cat and mouse with the alien is quite fun, to be honest. So no regrets there, none whatsoever. Next Alien Isolation related question is, would I rather play it without the tracker or lose Garrus in the suicide mission? And I pick the tracker. Because, yeah, no. If I lose Garrus in the suicide mission, I'm replaying the mission. I don't care. Sorry. Expanding my focus. Live streaming or movie reactions or etc. I have been entertaining the idea of creating another channel with movie reactions. There are a good number of movies that I've never seen, so that could be really fun. Although editing those kinds of videos is pretty difficult, I gotta say, and there's a lot of effort involved, so maybe it'll happen, maybe it will not. But I can definitely say that live streaming is in the cards. And if you guys don't know, I do have a Twitch channel that I sometimes show up in. Lately, I've been playing Sekiro. But I am also planning to do some live streaming on YouTube. I'm less familiar with how it's done, so that will be interesting to get into. But yeah, we will probably get to chat live at some point. Your experience as a gamer girl. So it's been good, honestly. I think it's been good. Granted, I don't play competitive multiplayer games, and I think that's where all of the toxic environment tends to focus around. So I don't really like those games, and I never really ended up being drawn to them, so I never really experienced all of the super negatives that you see and hear about all the time in the gaming community. So in the games that I tend to prefer, everything has been really nice and respectful, and I have not really noticed, or I guess never taken it that way, that someone would be rude or condescending or anything like that. So the Mass Effect community seems really good. I was kind of afraid about the Souls community because I heard some not very good things about that as well, but everyone I encountered so far has been respectful and nice, and I don't really know if they cared whether I'm a girl or not girl, but I have to say that I used to play MMOs a lot before. That's kind of why I've been missing out on some of the classics in the gaming genre, single player gaming genre. But there, yeah, you don't really want to admit that you're a girl usually. Next two questions are kind of similar. Gaming list 2023 and games after Mass Effect. So, like I mentioned, I'm going to introduce live streaming to my YouTube channel at some point, and I feel like I want to put Witcher 3 on the list of the first one to try out as a live stream. So that's one. I want to check out Dragon Age Origins after Mass Effect specifically. And I'm going to check out Andromeda as well, but not right away or not right after Mass Effect 3. Let's see. There are... To be honest with you guys, I have like a Excel spreadsheet with my gaming list of the games that I want to try out on the channel at some point. The order of them is unknown, but eventually, I hope all of them are going to make their way onto the channel. So it doesn't help that there are new games that keep coming out that I'm super excited about. So the list never really gets any smaller, only larger. So we'll see how it works out. Oh, I also want to check out the Dead Space remake that I think is coming out in a couple of days, isn't it? But yeah, I'm not going to be doing it right away because I already have enough games that I'm currently playing that I probably wouldn't be able to handle another one at this point. But maybe we do that after BioShock Infinite. I also want to play The Last of Us 1 and 2 because I've never played it and I heard it's really good. And there's a show coming out that I really want to watch, but I can't because I haven't played the games. So I have to play the games and then I have to check out the show. And maybe that's where that other channel that I mentioned earlier would come into play as well. Maybe I can watch the show after playing the games and see how it compares. We'll see. It's exciting. There are lots of ideas going around in my head about what I can do. And there's never enough time for everything that I actually want to do. But we all have this trouble, so it's just something we have to live with. On that note, there was a question about whether I'm going to play Telltale games or not. And I would like to say yes to that, absolutely. I find them curious and interesting, and the idea is very intriguing about how your decisions would drastically change the world. Which I guess is true in a lot of other games, but I feel like it's a lot more prevalent and visible in Telltale games, so it would be cool to check them out. What kind of game would I develop if I could develop a game? That's another interesting question that never came to mind, but I think, man, I've been talking so much that my throat got super dry and I had to cough again, so my apologies. Whew, all right, where were we? Yes, what kind of game would I develop? I think it would have to do something with building. Just because I feel like that's what I have the most experience in and probably can provide more insight into. So if I were to develop a game, you would think that I would want to stick with something that I'm very familiar with. Not to mention that I'm definitely not familiar with developing games, so I think that would be my answer. And in that sense, think if you guys ever played Valheim, the type of building that you have in Valheim, essentially. We are almost through the entire list of questions, which is kind of cool. I've been going on for a while, so thank you guys for all of those. It's been really exciting to see them come in after I posted that poll or thread, whatever you want to call that. So, the very fun one, I left them for the end. Karaoke song. I don't really do karaoke. I honestly don't really enjoy singing in public. If I would sing a song in karaoke, there are two that I can think of. One is from a Russian singer that I really like, and she sings folk music a lot, and that tends to really work for my own voice and the style of songs, I guess. I can tell you guys her name, but it's probably not going to tell you much, but the band is called Melnitsa. So if you know it, cool. You probably don't. But I really like their music, and the style of singing really works for my own voice. And the second one would actually be from The Witcher 3. So if you guys played, and I actually never got to that point in the game, but I heard the song and I absolutely love it. It brings me to tears every time just hearing it. It's Woven Storm. I think it's what it's called. But yeah, it's... Okay, yeah, so Priscilla sings it in The Witcher 3. And it's so beautiful. And I've heard the song in multiple languages, and each one is absolutely gorgeous. And I highly recommend, if you've never heard the song, just look it up. It's so beautiful. It's very, very good. And like I mentioned before, it brings me to tears just listening to it. That's kind of powerful. And the last question, everything about my dog. I am going to put up some pictures of him while or when I edit this. But he is enormous. I think he might be up to 100 pounds right now. He's a mix of a standard poodle and a Bernese mountain dog. So he is giant and fluffy and super kind, and he's kind of a chicken. He's afraid of a lot of things, and he barks at strange noises. And his favorite thing to do, or his favorite thing to be afraid of, is bugs on the ceiling. There was one time when he saw, was it a ladybug or something large enough for him to see on the ceiling? And he was absolutely terrified. I was in the other room, so he ran over, kind of cowered right next to me as I was sitting on the couch. And I could not get him to go into the room where he saw the bug until I took the bug and put it outside. Only then he decided that it was safe enough for him to proceed, and ever since that incident, whenever he enters a room, he looks up and tries to see if there are any bugs on the ceiling. So that's kind of hilarious considering that he is so giant, and he would probably squash the poor thing before he even notices it. So yeah, that's my dog. He is, let's see, he is 2.5 years old right now. Yeah, he's kind of a young boy still. But he's a lot of fun. He loves snow. He can probably just jump around and bounce between snow piles and be absolutely delighted and entertained for hours upon end. Well, I think that brings the Q&A to a close. And before I completely lose my voice, which I think I'm close to right now, this has been a lot of fun. Talking about the things that crossed your guys' minds and you listed out for me has been awesome. It's been very entertaining. And I look forward to continuing working on the channel and see it grow, and it's been extremely exciting to see where we currently are, because it hasn't been that long since I started the channel, and I never even thought that I would get to 100 subscribers, and now we are at 3,500. Where did all these people come from? This is awesome. I have to say thank you guys again once more. It's been absolutely delightful to have you guys around and have you guys enjoy the videos that I put out, and I am very humbled by the number of people who end up watching them, and I love it. It's so great. Well, with that said, I think I will see you guys in hopefully one of my future episodes of BioShock Infinite, Mass Effect, or Alien Isolation. Alright, bye for now.